There's a not very good joke that asks, why are Unitarian Universalists such bad singers? And the answer is they are so busy reading ahead to see if they agree with the words. Which I get. We don't want someone else putting words in our mouth like that. And today we will be exploring ideas about who and how and what God is. And some of that practice is to maybe sing something that doesn't maybe look 100% true for you on the page and see how it fits if you actually sing it out. And in trying something on, like a new outfit that you're not quite sure you can pull off, maybe you'll learn. Maybe you can pull it off, maybe you can't. And all of that is learning and growth that we get to do together here at church as we free and responsibly search for our truth and our meaning together. So come, let us gather together. Come, let us worship together. I am so glad that you are here.
Good morning. Welcome to People's Church. My name is Laura. I'm a member of the Sunday Services Committee and the president of the Board of Trustees. This is going to be relevant in a minute. People's Church is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association and part of a long tradition of liberal religion. First, our words of welcome, adapted from Kimberly Ann Tomzak Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. And so, you seek a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to the possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. Now, board president part. This is the part where I told you it was relevant. I get to announce that we are going to have a congregational meeting. I know, it's so exciting, right? On November 9th, we are going to have a congregational meeting to consider the following question. Shall the congregation spend up to $38,000 to purchase the solar panels on the roof of the church building? So that is the question. We will consider that on our meeting on November 9th. It'll be part of the service, of the regular service, so you don't have to stay late. Unfortunately, that means no potluck. I'm sorry, guys. But we will be doing it as part of the service on November 9th. People can attend in person or on Zoom, and you don't have to be there to vote because voting does not take place during the meeting. It takes place in the 2 weeks following through mail and through electronic means. You'll get emailed a form or you'll get a mailed form if that's how you choose to do it. If you need more information, you can check out the church website. We are also going to have a couple of informational sessions to talk about this, what it means for us, how we're doing it, why we are even considering it. And our expert on that is Tom Hackley. I'm gonna make him stand up and wave his arms a minute. Hi, Tom. There he is. There's Tom. He knows all about the solar panels if you have questions about this, and he is also our treasurer, so he knows not only about solar panels, but also about the financial responsibilities that are involved in this decision. So, there will be informational meetings. There's stuff about it on the website. You're going to get emails in your from the newsletter and through the Friday blast. And then please join us on November 9 if you would like to talk this all through with us. And then in the 2 weeks following, we're going to vote on whether or not we will make this purchase. So that's what I've got. And now we're going to hand it over to Reverend Rachel with more announcements.
So following the service today is our reception for our art wall exhibit. So come and meet the artist and just take another moment to appreciate this art. We'll have a new exhibit coming soon. And there's also some snacks. And then we have a few Halloween-related activities coming up next weekend. So this church year, the Religious Education Committee is hosting several potluck game nights. The first event is next Saturday, October 25th, from 6 to 8 p.m. here in this room in the Commons. And there'll also be a haunted house. So to make this a successful event, we're looking for a few volunteers to help set up tables and chairs, clean up, you know, all the things, the dishes. So there's a sign-up sheet in the foyer. So come join us for an evening of food, games, and fellowship. This is for people of all ages and all stages in the congregation. It's put on by the Religious Education Committee, but it's for everyone. And next Sunday, we'll be marking Halloween here at church. I'll be preaching about Dracula. And I invite everybody to wear a Halloween costume if they have one. And we can just lean into the joy of this moment. And now, here's Rick with even more announcements.
Good morning. I'm here with a quick, I hope, bazaar update. We know it's going to happen right here in this room and in a few adjoining rooms on November 22nd. And we know that there are people hard at work even now getting things ready for the bazaar because we've learned that doing advanced work is the way to get to a successful event. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. If you have urges that you want to do something to help with the bazaar, but you haven't quite figured out what to do, I've got 4 possible ideas. And I think Reed's got slides that'll magically appear as I talk away.
Yep, you can see it. Pasties up there already.
Oh, very good. First, pasties. Get your hands on a pasty. You can do that back in the kitchen with Bob Friedel. He's organized things into chop days, bake days, and wrap days. So you can pick the kind of activity you like and join in. Slide number 2. Yep. You can join the yard sign brigade. And that's where you sign out a bazaar yard sign. We've got a whole slew of them in the foyer right now. Take it home and then put it up in a good place the week of the bazaar. They really work. People say they notice them all over town. So that would be a good thing. Or you could buy one for future use. They're $25 a piece. And you can make a contribution to the effort that way. 3. Coming up maybe. There it is. You You can cook at home like crazy or do crafts all this preparatory time and then bring them in the day of the bazaar or right before the bazaar. Believe it or not, this is we earn a lot of money with these because there's no expense. People bring in the item and then we just sell it. And you can cook wonderful food treats, or you can make crafts and bring those in too. And they're high profit items. We always sell out of those first, so you can't make enough. Or number 4, there's no slide for number 4. You can join Rick's Riders, and we do it the old-fashioned way. We deliver about 100 flyers all over town, and we do it in 2-hour shifts so that you don't wear out and hopefully come back and do it again. It's great exercise, especially for the knees. So if you are interested in that, it would be wonderful to have you sign up. So, concluding thoughts, the bazaar is about 5 weeks away, so you've got enough time to satisfy those urges to get involved. The sign-up table is in the foyer with even more ideas. So pick an activity that suits you, have fun with it, and help your church at the same time. Thank you.
I invite you to rise and body our spirit to sing our opening song together. And we're gonna be looking at one slide. I'm just gonna tell you what the next verse is, so get ready. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching. Oh, we are marching in. We are loving. We are loving in the light of God. We are loving in the light of God. Yes, we are. We are loving in the light of God. We are loving in the light of God. We are loving. Oh, we are loving in the light of God. We are loving. Oh, we are loving in. We are laughing. We are laughing in the light of God. 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 We are laughing. Oh, we are laughing in the light of God. We are laughing. Oh, we are laughing and finally, we are dancing. We are dancing in the light of God. 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 We are dancing, dancing, we are dancing. Oh, we are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing. Oh, we are dancing in the light of God. Thank you.
Is May in the room? Yay. Hi, May. I'd like to invite May up to light the chalice, please. If you are lighting a chalice at home or wherever you might be on your Zoom, you are encouraged to type in the chat box, "A chalice is lit in your neighborhood, city, or street." Our chalice lighting today. May God, the mind that sees our faults, the tears that sting our wounds, the laugh that soothes our aches, and the love that redeems us all. Be illuminated by the light we kindle in this house of faith.
In addition to our chalice lit here at People's Church, we have people joining us on Zoom who have kindled chalices in downtown, the Millwood neighborhood, and Parkview Hills, on Munson Lake near Grand Junction, or near South Haven. What a gift it is to be all together in time and intention and focus, even when we are not all in the same place. Now I'd like to invite our children forward for a story. And not all of our children are here right now because a bunch of them are at a retreat for middle schoolers. And so they are up at Mystic Lake Camp and will be coming home in a few hours. Hello. I am so glad all of you are with us today. Oh, we're all finding a spot. Oh my goodness. Can you all find a spot?
Can I talk?
In a little bit. Okay. So my story today is a true story that took place about 200 years ago. I know, a long time ago. And it's about a little boy who loved mud puddles. Do any of you love mud puddles? You like them? It's so fun to
like water puddles.
You like water puddles too?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like muddy puddles and water. What do we call just puddles?
You just call them puddles, yeah. They're pretty fun to smash in and splash in. And so this little boy, his name was Hosea. He loved to splash in muddy puddles, and he loved to get the mud on his clothes and on his skin and everywhere. Can you guess who in his family did not love it when he did that?
Mom, Dad, Mama.
Yeah.
She don't care.
So Hosea had his daddy, yeah. So Hosea had a family where he was the youngest, and he had 9 older brothers and sisters. I know. And so one of his older sisters was in charge of keeping everybody's bodies clean, and one was in charge of keeping everybody's clothes clean. And 200 years ago, there were not washing machines for clothes. And there was not even hot water that you could turn on and have come out of your bathtub. You had to heat all of the water on the fire to get it warm enough for a bath. And so it was a lot of work to keep Hosea clean. And they went to their dad and said, "Dad, can you please tell Hosea to stay out of the mud?" And his dad said, "Hosea, please stay out of the mud." And he did sometimes, right? But sometimes the mud puddles just looked so great and were just such fun for splashing. And so he would get wet again and muddy. And then his dad had to talk to him again and say, "Hosea, please stay out of the mud."
But he did.
But he liked to, I know, he did like to splash in it, just like that. Just, you guys are demonstrating it perfectly. And so the next time Hosea's dad told him to stay out of the mud, he said, "Dad, are you really angry with me?" And his dad said, "I'm a little angry, but I'm mostly just disappointed because this makes it harder for everyone in our family."
Yeah, I forgot. I was in the story too.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he just wear a raincoat?
Oh, why couldn't he just wear a raincoat?
Yeah.
Maybe raincoats hadn't been invented yet. I'm not sure. That's a good solution, though.
Yeah, I don't think rubber.
You don't think rubber raincoats were invented yet? I don't think so either. So,
Yeah, I don't raincoat like things. I don't
Yeah.
think what
okay.
raincoats they get it.
Yeah, we'll have to look into the history of raincoats, I think, because I don't know very much about it. But We'll have to look it up in the computer. Yeah, I bet somebody has done the research about the history of raincoats. Just not me. And so, Hosea said, Dad, are you really angry? And his dad said, I'm not really angry. I'm just a little bit angry and disappointed. And then he said, Dad, but do you still love me? And his dad said, of course. There's nothing you could do that would make me not love you. Just try to stay clean. And Hosea tried. Sometimes he still messed it up, but he tried. And this little boy named Hosea grew up to be a grown-up who asked a lot of questions about God. And one of the things he asked about is, does God ever stop loving anybody? And he decided the answer to that is no. That God never stops loving people, even if they make a really big mess. Just like his dad would never stop loving him, even if he made a really big mess. And so Hosea grew up to be a man that we now know as Hosea Ballou. And he was one of the people who established the Universalist part of our name as Unitarian Universalists. And so he taught everybody that God loves them no matter what.
I know something about God.
What do you know about God?
He chose to die because he wants us to be better kids.
Oh, that is a fun thing to unpack. So you did someone tell you that God chose to die so you would be a better kid? Yeah. That for all of us to be better kids? I think we should have a long talk about that at another point, darling, because that's a really interesting idea. And I'm not sure I agree. Do you agree with that? Yeah? Okay, that's good. We can disagree in this church. And so, Hosea went out and taught everybody that God loves them no matter what. Even when they do bad things, God will still love them. There's nothing that they can do to make God not love them anymore. And that is part of why we now have love at the very center of what we believe. How we have it up there in the center of our values is that there is this love that we cannot escape from, even if we do bad things.
Like what? Like what?
Like what? Do you want to talk about like getting covered in mud so our families have to clean us up? Or maybe even more serious things than that.
Oh, no.
But there's nothing we can do.
Step on it. It's all muddy. My parents be mean to me.
Your parents would be mean to you if you got all muddy? I don't know. I know your parents. They might be disappointed.
What's so funny? What's so funny?
Yeah. So, and it is our job to go out and try to be loving to people too, so everybody knows how much they are loved. So we are going to sing our blessing out over you as you go to your classes today to learn and grow and have different ideas and talk about them together.
Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go.
Good morning. I'm Tom Hackley. I think I identify with that little boy, Hosea. Somewhere in my past, there's a little... People's People were among the activists who created the Kalamazoo Climate Crisis Coalition 6 years ago. And I'm going to call out some names. Donna McClurkin, Sibel Shattuck, Jeff Spolstra, and Alan Webb. You were all there at the creation. Thank you. In 2020, the congregation voted overwhelmingly at its annual meeting to become affiliates of the Kalamazoo Climate Crisis Coalition. And I've been privileged
to represent People's Church at KCCC for the last 5 years. It's been a pleasure to meet and work with the dedicated, sincere, and justice-loving volunteers on the coordinating committee. About a year ago, we were awarded a grant and were able to hire our first executive director, someone who, as an education director at the Nature Center, had also been a leading member of our steering committee. And she's here today to give you an update on the state of the coalition and our path forward. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Jenny Dozema, my friend and colleague.
Hi there, everybody. Thank you for welcoming me here today. Thank you, Tom, and thanks to all of those folks Tom called out and the rest of you for supporting the work that we have been doing in Kalamazoo for the last 6 years. And also, aren't you grateful for this rain? It's so nice to wake up and wander over here in the rain this morning. Thank you for the slide. So that was a good enough introduction about me. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing now. And first I want to share a couple statistics that is driving our work right now. One is, do you know 25% of greenhouse gas emissions in Kalamazoo County comes from residential housing? 30% of our homeowners in Kalamazoo, in the city of Kalamazoo, are cost burdened, so don't have the funds to take care of their homes the way that they need. Those same low-income homeowners, their energy costs per square foot are 35 cents more than someone who has the means to do regular upgrades on their house. Slide. This is the first time I'm going to do a presentation where someone else is managing the slides, so bear with me. So next slide, please. So the mission of the Kalamazoo Climate Crisis Coalition is to rapidly mobilize collective action. That's an important piece of it, to achieve immediate and drastic reductions in greenhouse gas emissions and rapid adoption of renewable energy through a transition grounded in racial, economic, social, and environmental justice. Next slide. Thank you. We are committed to standing up behind that mission for those most vulnerable, keeping them at the forefront and making sure that the climate impacts, as the climate impacts grow, our efforts are focused on solutions which bring us closer together to reimagine society collectively rather than growing disparities that already exist. And don't we need that more than ever right now? Next slide. We started with a giant global climate strike. We did a local march in Kalamazoo that ended in a festival at the festival site that was raising awareness about climate change. Now, some of you may have been outdoors yesterday. That was much larger than what we did in 2019, but in 2019 it was a pretty impressive crowd. Then, from that point on, next slide please, with a whole crew of folks, over 40 affiliates, businesses, educational institutions, religious institutions like you all, individuals, and more, have been standing behind the work that we've been doing for the last 6 years, which includes a lot of things, but I'm just going to name, you can see those up on the slide, I'm just going to name, we've been running an educational series for the last 6 years. We just relaunched that with a new name called Climate Conversations. I've seen many of you in those. Please keep coming back. Those are now once a month. We've run a newsletter edited by Tim Tesser, some of you may know, for the last 6 years. That's become a go-to resource for climate information, up-to-date climate information. And we have continued to do advocacy work in the community to try and push climate solutions forward in Kalamazoo, which has led us to where we are now. So in 2023, we helped create and seat a county climate planner at Kalamazoo County, and that the job of that person is to create a countywide climate action and justice plan for Kalamazoo County that can be utilized by other municipalities to really think more broadly about how we integrate climate solutions in everything that we do across the county. That work, that collaborative work, is co-led by an advisory committee that KC3 chairs, and that draft plan has just been completed and will be, you'll start to see news of that out in the community, and we hope for your feedback on that draft plan so we can make it even better. So look for that this fall and winter. There'll be a 4-month period where we're gathering feedback from community members. That collaborative work also led to this huge thing that some of you may have heard about in the news. And along with this being the first time that I have ever had someone else manage my slides, being in the news as much as I was in the beginning of this year was also a first for me. So we won a $19 million EPA grant that was a collaborative effort with 9 organizations across Kalamazoo that included Kalamazoo County and the coalition as the lead applicants, but then also was a collaborative effort with 4 core neighborhood associations, North Side, East Side, West Douglas, and Edison neighborhoods, with community homeworks and also Kalamazoo neighborhood housing resources. And that, next slide, please. Part of that work was what initiated the need to hire an executive director, and that's how I transitioned from the Nature Center to here. And that project was to help support the energy efficiency upgrades of 300 homes over the next 3 years in Kalamazoo County, which would have been a reduction, which would have been a reduction in about 700 tons of carbon dioxide per year, every year after completion. It was also going to turn the 4 core neighborhood facilities, those neighborhood association buildings, into climate resiliency hubs or emergency storm shelters that were solar powered and energy independent in high heat and freezing events and major storms, so that we had more safe places for people to go to get out of harsh weather. And then it was to support 150 workforce participants, trainees, in graduating into the skilled trades that could lead into the green energy workforce to help do the work that needs to be done. One of the things that we learned while we were planning with all of those partners was that a big barrier is that we don't have enough skilled trades folks that are able to complete the work in our area. In May, that grant was terminated by the Trump administration, and we're gonna, that alongside many other things that you all know are being canceled and clawed back by the federal administration that represent almost all of the services that we have agreed on as a country to help serve and support people who need it. So we are one in the mix, and we intend to take the initiative that allowed us to get going and carry forward. Next slide, please. We do see part of our work as continuing to push against the illegal cancellation of that money. And so while we're in litigation, we've kind of set that aside. We're collaborating with the legal teams who are helping us fight that battle. But we're moving on with the rest of our work with this brilliant staff that we were able to hire because of that initial funding. So this is our team at the coalition. Next slide. And these are our youth leaders, so the Ardea Youth Climate Coalition, some of you may have heard of. We also adopted from the Kalamazoo Nature Center as part of my transition, and they are now our youth team that is doing climate work across our area and abroad. Next slide. So what are we doing with all of that now? We continue, so one of the great things about our project is that it was scalable. We can turn 300 into 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 homes, and we can turn 150 graduates into a smaller number and keep going. Would we love to still have those giant numbers? Yes, we would, and maybe we'll get there, but for right now, we still know that work is really necessary. So we are, our goal this next year is to do direct repairs with that same team of partners to up to 20 homes. That costs about anywhere between 10 and 40,000 per home, sometimes more, depending on depending on the state of that house. We're focused on energy efficiency upgrades because that's where it aligns with our mission, where greenhouse gas reduction helps also achieve some needs that really serve people in our community. We hired a community resource navigator, and that's where we're able to make a really giant impact. So the resource navigator's job is to take advantage of all the programs that already exist around the state and nation that help provide efficiency upgrades and repairs for homes. What we learned also is that there's a lot of money that's left on the table because folks are not accessing those programs. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Sometimes it's just they don't know about them, and other times it's because they don't have the time or the resources to sit and follow through with every step that it takes to get to completed work in your home. So our resource navigator, we project can meet with up to 200 families a year to help connect them to existing resources that will bring more dollars invested in Kalamazoo homes to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, help them save money, fix their homes, raise the value of their homes, without spending our own dollars on that. So that'll be in addition to KC3's money that we're spending, and take advantage of those programs that are underutilized. We also will continue to do that climate education and support our next generation of climate leaders through the Ardea Coalition. And our workforce participants, so apologize for that photo being a little out of line. Our workforce trainees, there's a program that is ongoing that we're supporting at the north side. There's a crew of folks in the basic electric program right now. There are 8 trainees, and KC3 is supporting those trainees with a couple different things. One is by connecting contractors and business owners that might be potential employers with those trainees, and the other is by providing some funds to reduce barriers to their attendance, so things like gas cards, bus tokens, childcare costs, that kind of thing. And that's one of the places where we could use some smaller dollars to support. Right now, we have money to help support our staff and make a big effort towards raising money to do this work this fall. And we could use some extra dollars to help support getting the word out, connecting with people, bringing the resources to people, and continuing to do the services like this. So supporting that barrier removal for workforce trainees. Next slide. And also, so there's three kind of ways that you could support our work right now. Outside of just sign up for our newsletter, get involved, go to our website, which is kalamazoocrisis.org, and there's a lot of different ways to get involved there. So those next two are our community resource navigator, along with the rest of our team, is getting out in the community as much as possible to try and be in the neighborhoods where the people are who need work on their homes, to let them know about what we're doing, to get them signed up for the programs. We also have indoor air purifiers that we're distributing to community members to help reduce bad indoor air quality, increase good air quality in their homes. And so connecting with people, we need basic things: signs, printing money, and money to get out there and sign up for events and get in front of folks. And then those of you who are really loving what we're doing and you have the resources to support those bigger dollars, help sponsor a home. At $20,000 a home, any little bit will get us closer to that home. That's the work we're doing right now. Next slide. I am really grateful for you to welcome me here, and grateful for your ongoing support for the last 6 years, and know that some of you out there are going to continue to be super involved, and I hope some more of you get involved too. Thank you.
Please join me in giving thanks. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish.
People's Church is a community that cares for one another. One form that care takes is when we gather together, we invite those who wish to share the joys, sorrows, and other milestones of their lives. So if you have something you wish to share with our community today, if you're with us on Zoom, please type it in the chat box. If you're here in person, please come forward, place a stone in our bowl of water, and if you choose to speak, please speak briefly and remember to tell us your name. And now a few more stones for all of the joy and all the sorrow we're holding quietly in our hearts today, the joy and sorrow in our wider community and our wider world. Sources of reason and radiance, sources of courage and compassion, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep this day. May the suffering be soothed. May the weary find rest. May the sick be tended. May the dying and those who love them find peace. May the joyous be shielded. And may all of us know we are wrapped in a love that surrounds us always, a web that connects us to all that exists. Our words for meditation today are a passage from a short story, How to Make Love to a Physicist by Disha Filya. And the story is about an art teacher and a physics teacher in a long-distance relationship. And the story is told in the second person, so the you being addressed is the art teacher. How do you make love to a physicist? Ask him if he believes in God. Ask him if he thinks it's possible to reconcile science and religion. He says physics principles support the notion of God because they tell us you can't create something from nothing. Something must have created all of this, unless you believe that we have always existed, that there's no Big Bang, no beginning point to the universe. I don't know what the mechanism is, but it's some higher power. All that energy has to come from somewhere. Oh, she says, you say, I assumed you were an atheist. Even Einstein wasn't an atheist, he says. He talked about God all the time. Now, he didn't believe in a God that was concerned with human behavior. You don't think how God cares how we treat each other and the planet? I think that's the most important thing. But human beings are capable of doing that outside of the purview of the church. I've come to understand that belief in a personal God is not essential, not for me. You ask, what about heaven? But what you really want to ask is, what about hell? What about it? Heaven, Getting into it, avoiding the alternative, is the whole point of living, right? Isn't it? Your mother speaks lovingly of Judgment Day and the final accounting of who's allowed past the pearly gates, certain that God's accounting will mirror hers. It will be a very small number, she's fond of saying. Only those who walk the straight and narrow path shall see the face of God. And you realize that if God were to welcome everyone into heaven, your mother would abandon Christianity immediately. You don't know how to answer his questions about heaven without sounding like you're quoting a fairy tale about good and evil, reward and punishment. You take a moment to soak it all in. You think of your mother and the small version of God she clings to, the only version you've ever known and the one you're afraid to let go of. Then you think of how your daily calls with Eric are a kind of ritual, and when you finally meet up again, it could be a kind of consecration. You are thrilled and terrified at the prospect. Terrified because all you've ever known of religion is that it demands more than you can ever give. I guess a person could have heaven right here on earth, you say. I do, Eric says, every time I see you smile or hear you talking about your students, and even when you're quiet and painting or just folding towels. Heaven is me folding towels? Okay, maybe it's you folding fitted sheets. Miracles abound.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. Some of you may remember me. I grew up here in this church. My name is Maya Kirkwood. I haven't been back since COVID and I went off to college, but I am here today to read you a poem I have written entitled, "When All Is Said and Done, My Soul Will Be My Own." I see you. Your smile is curved in that satanical address. You know, the one that fans the flames of humanity's ignorance. I see you, taunting me from the windows of human souls, darting from shadow to shadow and hiding yourself in the folds of hearts, coliseums where arteries assemble holding hands with clenched fists, where the sins of your song rest in the mouths of fear and boiling blood rotting in their cells. I know you. You are dancing on the lips of politicians, your fingernails sculpting their vernacular while they sell us false districts. I know you. You are telling the uneducated that their hatred is righteous, that their resentment is justified and just a symptom of their whiteness. Meanwhile, you send your bastard children, hungry for endless antagonism, to feed on the miserable minds where bigotry dwells. I have been you. Though I have since torn your costume from my skin, your invasion and subsequent absence ripped holes in my stomach, perfect graves to bury bits of my spirit in. I have been you, and though I no longer see you when I look in the mirror, you left me haunted with anger lodged in my throat, ashes that have settled in my lungs, and puncture wounds in my voice that cannot be mended with tears of guilt. I have been you, and I know you all too well. By the God that I don't know if I believe in, I will be damned if I continue to enable your anonymity. By the tongue that you once possessed, I will name you, the devil, evil, hatred. And though we may call you different things, so will the rest of us, those of us who wish to bleed red instead of wrathful, those of us who wish to breathe air instead of fear, those of us who wish to act with kindness and hope instead of hostility. And though you do your best to caress us with doubt, entitlement, and self-pity, I will not rest until your conquest is halted, and you stop annexing what little compassion we as a society have left. Thank you.
If that did not straighten you up, I encourage you to find a singing position. Bring many names, beautiful and good, celebrate in parable and story, holiness in glory, living, loving God. Hail and Hosanna, bring many names. Strong Mother God, working night and day, planning all the wonders of creation, setting each equation, genius at play. Hail and Hosanna, strong Mother God, warm Father God, hugging every child, feeling all the strains of human living, caring and forgiving till we're reconciled. Hail and Hosanna, warm Father God, old aching God, gray with endless care, calmly piercing evil's new disguises, glad of new surprises, wiser than despair. Hail and Hosanna, old aching God, young growing God, eager still to know, willing to be changed by what you've started, quick to be delighted, singing as you go. Hail and Hosanna, young growing God. And once more, great living God, never fully known, joyful darkness
what do two middle-aged moms, best friends since they were teens, do when they finally get to take a trip together without their children? If you're me and my best friend, go to church is part of the answer. So we found ourselves one Sunday morning last spring during my sabbatical, seated in the congregation of Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. So Lakewood is a mega church, one of the most mega of churches in our country. And it's pastored by Joel Osteen, who, if you pay attention to Christian culture, you know who that is, or general culture, I guess, too. So it meets in the former stadium of the Houston Rockets professional basketball team, and it seats 16,000 people. It is wild. And so through multiple services and online attendance, they average about 45,000 people at church every week. And last spring, my friend and I were two of them. So I went in pretty skeptical, there for the cultural experience with my anthropology hat on. But at first it was great. We were warmly welcomed, and there was really clear signage about how to navigate the stadium turned into a worship space. And it was the most racially diverse group I've worshiped with in a long time. The racial demographics of the congregation were pretty close to the demographics of Houston. And the music was spectacular. They had professional musicians leading us in song with the sound turned up high, so it just felt like we were at a rock concert, and when we sang, our voices, just kind of sounded like the really good singers and the songs were all pretty catchy, so we could join in quickly. I didn't really listen to the words, but the music was good, or I tried not to listen to the words. And there was a video package showing what happened at the men's night a couple nights before, and then another about the church giving school supplies to some local schools. There was a live interview with another pastor about his church. And there was a beautiful moment when people came forward and received healing prayers from other church members while the whole congregation sort of sang gently as that was going on. And then we got to the declaration. So right before the sermon, the whole congregation stands up together and they say, "I am blessed, prosperous, redeemed, forgiven, healthy, whole, talented, creative, confident, secure, disciplined, focused, prepared, qualified, motivated, valuable, free, determined, equipped, empowered, anointed, accepted and approved, not average, not mediocre. I am a child of the Most High. I will become all I was created to be in Jesus' name." It's a lot. It's a mouthful. And as a worship nerd, I think it really matters what a congregation says together. So here, the one thing we all say together every week is our offering dedication. You can say it with me if you want. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love that none of us can accomplish alone. So in that one sentence, we value gratitude and generosity. We remind ourselves that we are all in this together, and we name that the work of the church is the works of love. In other congregations, people say other things, and I always assume that the words that everyone says together are at the core of what that community is. So, what about the declaration at Lakewood Church? The list of just about every positive attribute you can imagine. But none of them are about relationship. They are so individualistic. None of the words are about relationship with humans. Some are about relationship with God. And when everyone in the room is declaring themselves above average, that doesn't actually work out mathematically, but it also invites comparison, not cooperation. You are better than everyone else. And if this declaration is at the core of what is that community, it says something, right? So Lakewood Church is part of the Word of Faith movement, which is part of what's sometimes called the prosperity gospel. So this is a pretty new movement within Christianity, and the way it works, or the way the belief system goes, is if you are a faithful person, you can speak into existence anything consistent with the will of God. So saying all of these positive things aloud will make them happen if your faith is strong enough. That's how this system works. And then we moved to the sermon, and Joel Osteen is very good at preaching. There's a reason why he can draw that many people to his church. He's charismatic and he's funny. And he focused on explaining this word of faith idea. So he told this complicated story about a real estate deal and how his prayers were answered when he spoke them aloud. And I thought to myself, okay, but I hope God has something better to do than worry about real estate. And then he started telling the story of a parent of a disabled child. How doctors told the parent that her child's life would unfold in a certain way, and that it was not the way the parent had imagined or wanted her child's life to go. And so she prayed and spoke aloud the life she wanted for her kid. And this is when my friend and I got up and left, because we knew where the story was headed. I'm sure you probably know, some sort of miraculous healing something. And my parent is parenting a wonderful kid who's disabled and didn't want to hear that nonsense. And I didn't want to hear it either. And the service had already lasted for 2 hours at this point, and we were really hungry. So, Word of Faith and other prosperity gospel theologies have a very particular and unusual, historically, idea about how God works. If your faith is right, you will get good things, often including money. So if you've ever seen a TV preacher, a televangelist, promise blessings or wealth in exchange for a donation, you've seen this prosperity gospel at work. And these theologies turn God into some kind of Santa Claus who keeps a list of who is good and bad, and the good people get things. And we know, just from looking around, that that's not how the world actually works, at least not most of the time. We don't have to look far to see people who are cruel and selfish, who at least from the outside seem to have pretty good lives. And we all know good people who've had more than their fair share of suffering. If it was just about being good, this wouldn't be how the world is. This world is too complicated for that kind of God, especially when prosperity gospel theologies can be twisted into blaming people for their own suffering, right? Because according to these ideas, if you believed the right thing, God would just make you healthy or prosperous, etc., etc., etc. So it's a theology of individualism, a God of capitalist achievement, and that's a God that I don't believe in. There's a story about physicist Albert Einstein, and I'm not sure if it's a true story and that it happened in history, or if it's a true story the way myths and fables are true and that they point us towards a truth, even if they didn't actually happen. But in this possibly mythic tale, a journalist asks Albert Einstein, "Do you believe in God, Professor?" And Einstein answered, "First tell me what you mean by God, and then I'll tell you if I believe in him." And I appreciate this story because the word God is so slippery. In just the Christian tradition, the same word God is used in this Word of Faith prosperity theology and in liberation theologies. God is invoked in the Christianity of the American antebellum enslavers and the Christianity practiced by the enslaved that helped them withstand, survive, and seek freedom. The German church that sided with the Nazi government cited God as part of their reasoning, and the confessing church that took action against Nazism. When we talk about God, we need to be very clear if we're talking about a God who grants wishes for material things, a God who's on the side of the oppressors or on the side of the oppressed, or something else. Just in the Christian tradition, there are so many ways for understanding how and what and who God is. In our hymn today, we sang of so many images of God. And that's not even to touch on everything else and all of the other wisdom traditions. This word God is so big. First, tell me what you mean by God, and then I'll tell you if I believe in him, or her, or they, or just God. Maybe God has all the pronouns, or none at all. Here at People's Church, most, but not all of us, started our religious journey in another faith tradition, at least according to our congregational survey. And most, but not all of us, don't believe in God, according to that same survey. But today I'm issuing a gentle invitation, especially to those of you whose religious journey started with the concept of God, and now that's not part of how you understand your belief system, to get clear on which parts of this slippery concept of God you don't believe in. I have no interest in convincing you to believe in God today. That's not my project. That's not my job. But I do want you to know exactly what you mean when you say you are not a God believer, if that's how you identify. And while naming everything we don't believe in is a very indirect way of getting to the truth, there is power in that act of rejection of the no. Sometimes we know what we don't believe better than what we do. And by practicing this via negativa, a negative way, we can back ourselves into a better understanding of what we know is true. So via negativa is an approach in Christian theology of describing who and how and what God is not as a better way of understanding who and how and what God is. So my time at Lakewood and my reflection afterward became a practice of via negativa. Being there, learning and experiencing their way of worship helped me form a more nuanced rejection of a particular prosperity gospel. And that is valuable. This rejection is part of our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So here's another example of the via negativa in my spiritual journey. And this story, very clear, is an example, not a prescription. You might disagree with me, and honestly, I hope you do, and then we can meet and talk about it and grow from that difference. Like I hope I can have the conversation with the small child who wanted to tell me about God's death earlier. In Christian traditions dating back centuries, there is a teaching that God is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. That means that God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and present everywhere. When this description of God was offered to me, I rejected it. It's not a definition that makes any sense because, at least to me, I believe that if God is really as powerful, wise, and everywhere as they say, this would either have to be the best possible world, or God doesn't want to make this world better. Because God is choosing not to use God's infinite power to make this world different than it is. And I can't believe this is the best possible world. I don't really need to iterate all the reasons, you know them, but this world doesn't feel like the best world. And if God has the power to make things better, to ease suffering and climate change and everything that's bad, and is choosing not to, that is not a God I want to spend any time with. And maybe I don't believe isn't even the right word for that, because it doesn't feel like an intellectual project to disbelieve in that sort of God. It feels more visceral. It's in my body. Sometimes our bodies have the wisdom that we can't quite put to words yet. And in rejecting that omni God, I come to more clarity about what I do believe about God, how I can hold that slippery word when I choose to, which is only sometimes for me at this point in my journey, not always. So as a mystic, I come to a lot of my truth about what matters most through experience. And I've had experiences that to me, God is the best word for. It's like a great big love, a love lurking over my shoulder that's right there. And I feel that presence when I bridge divides, when I learn and grow from mistakes, when I live with integrity, when I am heartbroken. I feel it, whatever it is, maybe God, alongside me sometimes. And it is powerful and it is humbling. So in rejecting this idea of an all-powerful God, I can come to an idea of a not all-powerful God, maybe a God who is loving and who is just as brokenhearted about how the world is as I am. A God that's not an all-powerful fixer who refuses to fix, but more of a teammate and a cheerleader rejoicing alongside us as we make strides to build the beloved community, but not doing the work for us, telling us that we have to go out and be love's hands and feet and voice in the world. Sometimes we have to say a clear no, name the God we don't believe in, get up and leave the teaching that doesn't fit before we can make a way to a tentative, possible yes. And maybe we will make a long list of no's as we travel our via negativa without ever finding a yes. And that is a fruitful spiritual journey too, even if we never get to a yes. As a Unitarian Universalist, searching freely and responsibly is part of how we covenant to be with one another. And in that search, that can mean appreciating, and it can also mean a kind rejection. But when our search includes love, curiosity, and respect, we can find clarity and growth even when we don't find a new truth. So I encourage you to seek, to understand what you don't believe in, perhaps as much as what you do, and to share those learnings with others so we all might grow together. First, tell me what you mean by God, and then I'll tell you if I believe in him. May it be so. May we make it so, and amen. So, we're going to sing a hymn we don't sing very much here because it has a lot of God language in it, guys. But if you haven't figured out, that's what we're doing today. But there's a bit that I love where we just sing out really loud, grant us wisdom, grant us courage, a whole bunch of times. I think it's in every verse. And I just sing that to myself a lot. So I offer, even if you can't bring yourself to say stuff about God of grace and God of glory, at least join in really strong for the wisdom, grant us courage, okay? Because I think we all need it. And I need you to sing that blessing over me at the very least.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit to do just that. Fill us with a living vision.
Whoever it is that you might appeal to, God, your own inner voice, the great interdependent web, the holy mystery, may all of it grant us wisdom, grant us courage for the living of these days. Let us go in peace and go in love.